This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Tommo, still need that 2025 helmet tier list, man. Now we need a helmet tier list vid. Still waiting on helmet tier list 25. Tommo, keep up the good work though. Hey Tommo, will you rate all the helmets again this year? Tommo, are you going to do a helmet suit ranking? Always love those videos. Tommo, redesigns the best part of the season. Also still hoping for a helmet ranking video. Okay, let's take a look at every single one of the 2026 F1 driver helmets and put it in a tier list. My name's Tommo, his name's Minton. Let's talk about it. In no particular order, we're going to kick off with Lance Stroll in what is a very glossy all black number. I thought this was just thrown together helmet at the last minute with a couple of logos slapped on, not actually his design, but it looks like it is because it's got the wings on the side in the matte finish. This is lovely. The gloss black looks like a snooker ball, and then I just love those matte wings. He's had them for a while, but he's had a bit of a messy design around it. And even though I like that Lance has used the green in his helmet in the past, as we spoke about, sometimes this Aston Martin green can be a bit green or a bit blue. This for me is just sharp, simple, and very, very nice. Is it top tier? Probably not, but for now, anyway, I'm putting it in A tier. Lance, love your work, son. Now just deliver this level of W on track, please. Well, that sounds like the Aston Martin is 4.5 seconds slower than everyone else. Don't say I didn't call it in my predictions. Next up, we have Valtteri Bottas. Now, when I saw the image above, the top image you can see on screen, the initial kind of sneak peek of his helmet design, I thought, you know what, this could be decent. Kind of a nice matte with some white pinstriping, some blue pinstriping. And then we saw the real thing, and oh my goodness, I hate it. I actually hate it. I want it to disappear. Get it away from me. It's just awful. I don't want to spend a second longer than I need to talking about this. This is going straight into D tier. Nico Hülkenberg repping Audi, of course, this season, and fundamentally a very similar design template that he's had for years, even since his Renault days, right? With the two stripes down the center, the Go Faster stripes, right? And then Hülkenberg, but without the U and the E, basically with the vowels removed on the side. I've never loved that. And actually, if you removed that Hülkenberg down the side, even the stars don't really offend me, and I actually think it's a really nice color palette with the base white, the Audi kind of orange pinstriping, and the grays in there. The text is just bugging me, man, because without that, this is absolutely an A tier helmet, but with it, I'm afraid this is a B tier helmet. So close, Nico, yet so far. We know your name. We know it. You've been around for long enough. You don't need to stick it on your helmet, son. Right, Max Verstappen, nothing new here. It's a base design he's used for a very, very long time, complementing the Red Bull yellow and red perfectly. The yellow is a lovely accent on top of what is a pretty standard Dutch flag, colours of red, blue and white. The perfect Red Bull helmet, zero notes as ever. This is as S tier as it gets. This is a perfect execution, if you ask me, of a helmet design. Might not be my favourite though. We'll get to that. You know what? I've got a good feeling about 2026. So I think this is the year you should build your very own beautiful online home with the help of today's video sponsor, Squarespace. Whether you want to launch an online store, a blog for your thoughts, or a portfolio to showcase your work to the world, Squarespace is the all-in-one website building platform I would recommend to you. Made easier than ever with their AI-powered blueprint software, award-winning to boot, free to try. It's only when you want to publish your finished website live to the world that you have to pay anything, so there's nothing to lose. If it's something you've been thinking about doing for a while, now is the time. Head to squarespace.com/TommoF1 to get 10% off of your very first website or domain. Now, Carlos Sainz, like Nico Hülkenberg, has had his similar base design for a long time, whether he was at Ferrari, whether he was at Renault, when they were teammates back in the day, remember, with the Spanish flag, yellow and red. But then in his Williams era, obviously, you've got that contrasting with the brighter Williams blue, with the Komatsu on top as well, and then the bright blue Barclays. I'll tell you what, This is working for me. I love how you've got the contrast between the red and the yellow that kind of complement one another, being so close on the hue spectrum, but also you've got now that Barclays blue alongside the bright Williams Atlassian blue. Having those two elements together, stunning. The Duracell battery along the visor, obviously really nicely implemented as well. The chili on top on the little wing on his helmet. This is lovely. I wish I could get better pictures, but I've not been able to source the best images of this one so far. But from what I can see, this is going in A tier, maybe S even. Let's just hold it here for the time being. Also, I'm going strongest A, so I prefer Science to Stroll. Whichever's furthest left is higher up within that tier. Championship favourite, maybe still? Do you think so? I don't know. George Russell with his bright blue helmet. This is an example of those where, like, the helmet in isolation I think is really, really good, but it really bugs me how it's so close to the Patronus teal, but it isn't. You can see the green in the Patronus teal versus the blue. Because you take that out of the question, I think George's base helmet that he's had for a while now, he's really trying to own that ice blue, which there is another driver trying his best, and we'll see how those two go head to head. I think you do have to consider how a helmet interacts with the car, because believe it or not, you only really wear your helmet when you're in it. So as much as I like it in isolation, also like the pinstriping in the darker blue that seems to be kind of metallic, I don't love. The Meta AI color wheel on the top is kind of okay because you've got a bit of the bright blue in it, but I don't love it. The conclusion I'm coming to is that this is a B tier helmet. Next up, the Aussie, Oscar Piastri, with a very similar helmet layout as he's had in the past, and I've not liked it previous years. Have I warmed to it? Like, I think that top down angle, I quite like how the Monster Energy is a really kind of out there logo, right? And it kind of works with the out there elements within the 81, the stripes, the gradients, the Aussie flag, all the different colors going on. It almost looks like a motocross helmet, which isn't my cup of tea, but I can appreciate it now more than ever, I would say. But look, I'm sorry, Oscar, you're not getting anything more than a C out of me. I almost think that might be quite generous, but it's not as skin crawling as Bottas's helmet is. So, well done, Oscar. That's as high as you're getting with this design, I'm sorry. Checo has returned to Formula One, and he is bringing a helmet that's very different, because of course we've seen him for a long time now running a Red Bull helmet, and the Red Bull branding takes up so much of that design that you don't have too much room to express yourself. But here we go, and I tell you what, Checo leaning into the yellow, it's not too fiddly. There's some kind of elements on the top that I see what they're getting at, trying to make something kind of with a bit of gradient going on. You got the Mexican flag whipping round as well, the Cadillac elements there. This is a sharp helmet. I wouldn't say I adore it, but it's refreshing. It's not too busy, you know, there's enough sponsors on there, but there's not too many, and the design is able to shine, but also not too complicated. So I'm going to put him in B. I'm going to put him behind George, because I do prefer George's helmet in isolation. It's just, again, with the car, it's not amazing, but Checo, decent. Esteban, right, okay, Toyota Gazoo Racing era at Haas, and he's gone with his all red design. An ode to Michael, of course, he's a big Michael Schumacher fan, is Esteban Ocon, as we all are, and this is cool. I really like this. It's two-tone red, which you can't really see from that front-on angle, but you get a bit more of that in the side on. Of course, it complements the Toyota Gazoo Racing color palette as well, which is red. This is just really nice. They've not tried to overcomplicate it with too many gradients. There's a lot of pinstriping going on, but it comes together well. I think this is going in A, and I'm going to put it behind Stroll, because I think Lance has done something really cool with that all black helmet. Esteban's is a bit more generic, but still really, really, really nice. Well done, SD. Defending world champion Lando Norris has brought out basically the exact same helmet design as he has in the past, instead with the number 1 on top. Super unique. The sponsors don't shine. I mean, that FX Pro logo is getting lost in there, but they're in there, so they can't really complain, can they? This is a top tier helmet design. I think Lando's going to keep this for a very, very long time. If you didn't notice, the word Lando is woven into some of these blocks. It is really cool. It's asymmetrical. He needs to stick with this for the longest time now to make it absolutely iconic, because he's still very early on, realistically, in his career. This is superb, but I'm actually going to put it in the top of A tier. I've got no notes with the design. It's just, I don't love it. I just really like it, and that's okay. Rightio, Isaac Hadjar, the new Red Bull Racing driver, has gone with a helmet design that is very impressive, as it is slightly disappointing. Now, let me start with the disappointing, because you can see the image at the bottom was the helmet that was teased, shown off at the Red Bull kind of internal picture note thing. I don't know what is English. You know what I'm talking about. It's yellow, which complements the Red Bull yellow perfectly, with then the purple and all these other elements going on in there as well. Really like this. When I saw the images, I was like, yes, Isaac, this is Bosch. Simply lovely. You can see, even on the updated version of the helmet at the top, you can see all the space stuff. We know his dad is a researcher in quantum mechanics, so plenty of space and science and math stuff going on with the details. But why did you change it to green, Isaac? Why? I think that is so much nicer, the helmet at the bottom, than the helmet at the top, and I don't know why you changed it. I'm kind of a bit sad with what we have, because as much as I love all the little details, it's just the green does nothing for me. We've got enough lime green on the grid. If it's stuck with the yellow, it's an A tier helmet comfortably, but unfortunately the green, it makes a big difference for me. I'm putting it C. So close to being great, but not quite. Fernando Alonso, helmet, I mean, I don't need to explain, do I? Words are not necessary. I'm going to waffle for a few more seconds so that you can see these images on screen before I then immediately put Fernando Alonso into S tier. I feel like the yellow's gone back to yellow. It might still have a little bit of green in it, but that's what I didn't like over recent years, where it had gone a bit too lime for me. But the yellow's come back the same way with, you know, Max in his Red Bull helmet. The yellow pops here, the red pops here of the Spanish flag on the different shades of blue, and it's just lovely. And I also really like the new Honda logo, which is on the top. That just looks really sharp. This is easy S tier for me, and not even just S tier, but left of Max. I prefer this to the Verstappen helmet. Number one so far. The only rookie this season in Formula 1 will be Arvid Lindblad, of course a Red Bull driver, meaning that most of the design is taken up by the big Red Bull logo on the side, which is fair enough, game's the game. As for the rest of the helmet, this just to me looks like a very generic karting helmet design. There's no real identity here. There's just, you know, all those different like bits going on, and the Hugo and the Ford Racing, I don't think are particularly like well integrated into the helmet, because they'll have their standardized place and then the design's meant to work around it. I mean, it's not a bad design, or at least it doesn't offend me, but I'm actually going to put it in C tier behind Hadjar, because at least Hadjar's helmet has got some interesting design elements woven into it, again with his dad's work. But yeah, Lindblad, sorry Arvid, I think you need to find your own thing. Franco Colapinto, right, the Argentinian star. What's he going to do this year on track? I think he'll do pretty well. This helmet, I definitely don't love it. Like, the busyness of the design on top, really don't like that. The angled design elements on the side, like the Argentinian flag and all that, that's kind of cool. That's got potential, but it's still just, I don't like it really. Like, being honest, it's gonna be C tier, ahead of Lindblad, but behind Hadjar. I think it has potential as a kind of color palette, but this just ain't quite it for me. It's a bit too busy. Gabriel Bortoletto. Now, I tell you what, this helmet has so many sponsors on it. You've got Visit Qatar, Camozzi, Porto, Revolut, Castrol, KitKat, Picaro, Perk, Nexo. I mean, that's just on the side. Like, there's so much going on. Which, fair play to Gabby, fair play to Audi, I suppose. And again, leaning into the Brazilian flag colours, I rate that. I mean, to make this many logos integrate nicely onto a helmet is a challenge. And again, I think the yellow and green is super nice. And I'm actually going to put it top of B tier, ahead of Hulkenberg, Russell and Perez. This, I like it. I like what you've done here, Gabby. Charles Leclerc, rightio Charles. He's always delivered bangers in regards to his helmet. And he's changed things quite a bit this year, actually. He's gone for the full split, you know, red on top, white on the bottom. Of course, the Monegasque flag colours. Still got the strip along the top. I've got his 16 on the side. I like it. I don't know how I feel about the blue. The blue outlining feels like a bit much. It kind of takes away from it a little bit for me. This should really be a top A, if not low S tier helmet. But this year for me, Charles still sneaking into A, but I'm afraid he's going at the very bottom, even behind Esteban Ocon. I prefer Esteban Ocon's red helmet to Charles Leclerc's red helmet, which is probably the first time I've ever been able to say that. Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Oh my God, this is revolting, vile, disgusting. Kimi, man, there's so much going on. What I said about Lindblad's helmet in terms of this just looks like a generic karting helmet with way too much going on. Like, think that, but then multiply it by 17,000, because there is just so much going on here. Really not working for me. Is it as offensive as Bottas's helmet? No. Is it still going in D tier? Absolutely yes. Ollie Behrman, the boy from Chelmsford, returns a helmet that I haven't typically liked, and certainly unlike Esteban's helmet, this design is not complementing the Toyota Gazoo Racing red really at all. He's gone for a bright blue with a neon, which, yeah, okay, another neon helmet, whoop-de-doo. However, I do like the base blue. That is really nice. I like the white outline around the Haas logo, and the neon isn't overwhelming. You know what? This is probably my favourite Ollie lid to date. This could be up there in B tier. You know what? I'm going to put this top of B tier. They've done a good job with a tricky colour palette, if you ask me. Compositionally, this works better than, say, Gabby's helmet, but I prefer the colours on Gabby's helmet. Liam Lawson, right, we know he likes the pink. We know he has the deep dark navy. We know he has the New Zealand fern on top. We know he has that Maori pattern built into the helmet. It's just too messy for me. I'm sorry, Liam. I'm sorry. I don't really like it. And this is coming from a man who loves pink. This is my channel. You know, all those little lines and little gradients dotted about that classic karting helmets have, and then you add the Maori pattern on top of that. I mean, look at the Ford Racing on the pink. You can barely read the racing. Like, it just doesn't really work for me. It doesn't offend me like Antonelli and Bottas, but also I much prefer the helmets in C tier to this, so I'm putting it in D tier. It is a shame that the Red Bull branding on the side does restrict a lot of these designs, and you have to lean into it like Max does with his design. Otherwise, what Hajar, Lindblad and Lawson, the other three, you know, Red Bull system drivers, are all right down there because they've tried to go with their own design maybe a bit too much, rather than, again, embracing the restrictions that are put on it. Pierre Gasly next. I mentioned earlier another driver is trying to embrace the bright icy blue. Not just George Russell, but also Pierre Gasly. It's a very simple design. You know, you've got this intricate pattern in the background, but it's very subtle. And then you've got the white pinstripe pin on top of that to segment the sponsor logos. It's fine. Like, I really like the colour and I wish he'd done more with it. I'm debating whether to even put it in C tier. No, I think bottom of B is probably the correct answer here for Pierre. Sorry, I'd love to put it higher, but it's not quite given. Lewis Hamilton is in his yellow era. Since he joined Ferrari, it's broadly the same design as last year. The fundamental design with the stars on the side has gone unchanged for many a year now. He used to have that base composition with his purple design, and you've still got the little flicks and the gradients, but it's done subtly enough that actually I really rate it. I think it looks really nice. And we've all seen the fried egg memes around Lewis Hamilton in that Ferrari, but you know, leaning into that Ferrari yellow, this is the perfect example of a helmet that really complements the car that it's in the opposite way to George, right, where his light blue clashes with the Petronas teal. Lewis's bright yellow perfectly symbolizes the yellow of the Ferrari emblem and just works. So look, in isolation, this is probably a B tier helmet for me, but actually you put it in situ, I'm going top of A tier, because why not? I think that helmet works better in the car that it's driven than any other on the grid, and you have to give props for that. Because then last but certainly by no means least, Alex Albon with his two-tone blue and pink lid. He's adjusted this template, this design over the years, but you can see here he's got something really unique. There's no silly little gradients knocking about here. No one else is using the pink, and it's a really nice pink. It's pretty close to my pink, just saying. Don't worry, Alex, there's not a letter in the post. You can use it as much as you like, sunshine. Am I biased? Probably. But you know, there is a 1 in 22 chance that my favourite driver just happens to have my favourite helmet design on the grid, okay? Stranger things have happened. But this for me is straight in S tier, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Bottas's is absolutely, objectively, I'll hear nothing other than this being the worst helmet of 2026, and Alex Albon, of course, is the best. But let me know your thoughts and feelings down in the comments below. Tell me your incorrect opinions, and I will roast you for them down there. My name's Tommo. Thanks again. Have a good one. Ta-da.